What if there was ASMR, but you shouted?
Yeah, but
Shouting ASMR.
I don't think that's how it works.
I don't know.
It's supposed to be quiet. You're supposed to pick up on all the little sounds.
It's a new genre of ASMR. We're still working on
it's in the works.
We got to get it crowdfunded.
experimental ASMR.
Are we ready to go?
I'm ready.
My phone just shut off and it's like restarting. But yeah,
Okay.
let's start this. You don't need to start the podcast from the beginning.
We gotta leave them
Are
a
you-
teaser. You know, we
Yeah.
gotta say, hey, we picked up halfway through.
We're just going to
For the
drop them
full-
right in the
yeah.
middle of the live stream. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Exactly.
fine.
No context, live Instagram.
I mean, that's fine. Let them decode the clues for themselves.
Yeah.
All right.
Rob, I'm gonna get up on you.
I only ever did an Instagram live once.
Why is Megan the only one who went ooh?
Huh?
There's been a lot of sexual tension across the table, Chris. Even before you got here, there's a lot of sexual tension happening over there.
Well, I like tension and I like sex.
Chris approves. Welcome to Podcast of the Sky with Diamonds. We have another great interview episode for you today. We are joined by Bobbing for Apples, some friends of mine from back home, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Queen.
Hi, I'm Rob Weston.
And I am Paul Lapointe.
And that's Bobbing for Apples. All right, everybody, we'll see you next time. No, just
What a
kidding.
wrap.
I know. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, guys, before we get started? Get the audience to know you a little bit.
All right. So, I mean, before we started the band, we were all doing our own thing musically. Me and Rob have been friends for years. You know, I was solo. Same thing with Paul. And, yeah.
That's it.
Right now.
Kevin plays guitar for us and sings.
Oh,
That's what
I
he
thought
does.
she wanted like an origin story.
I mean, like, yeah, a little bit. Like, how'd you guys just decide to get together and
Well,
like-
so the open mics, that was basically how like all three of us had met and played together for the first time. For a while, Kevin was working there as a sound guy on the open mics, and we'd kind of seen each other play individually for, it was probably close to a year before we finally all got up and jammed together on stage at once.
yeah, there you go.
And at that point, Kevin wasn't working there, but he was still, showing up regularly. And yeah, so we went up and it gelled pretty well. And I think Kevin and Rob just kind of approached me afterwards, and they said, "How do you feel about like, starting like a legit band?" And I was like, "Oh, it's been a while since I've done that. Hell yeah!"
He said no at first. he's changing the story. He was like, well, let's just see where things go.
Oh my god, so cryptic. Well, there you go. Rob, do you have anything to add? You're just sitting over there so quietly.
Truth is, we're just three dudes that make music.
Rob
And
has
I believe it with the
Yeah.
sunglasses.
he's got a real Kurt Cobain vibe happening tonight. I mean, he always kind of does, but tonight especially. Shrug shoulders. So why the name Bobbing for Apples? That's an interesting name.
Oh,
for a band.
yes! Yes!
Can I tell this one, Kevin?
Yes.
I was about to ask you.
So excited. I'm excited.
So, okay. Yeah. So prior to, Kevin and I meeting Paul, we would jam a lot at my aunt's house. And, we knew we wanted to start a project together, but it just never became official until we met, Paul. But we would jam and we would have all these crazy ideas and stuff. And then just one day, Kevin was like, "Rob," and he looked as if he had just discovered like farts in a jar or something.
Farts in a jar.
I could
That's a good name for a band.
I couldn't think of anything specific. I panicked. Okay.
It's fine.
So
the essence of life itself.
yeah, sure.
It is farts in a jar.
So yeah, and he just looks at me. He's like, "I have the band name," and I was like, "Well, all right, Kev, let's hear it." Bobbing for Apples.
Hand gestures. I did that.
And I just kind of look at him blankly, And I like chuckled for a bit. And I was like, Kevin, no. And we dropped it for a bit, and then I don't know, we started brainstorming ideas with Paul, and Bobbing for Apples just kept coming up, and it never really got turned down except by me. And well, you know, we just decided to just go with it because I don't know, it's kind of a fun name, and we're kind of a fun bunch of guys. So I don't know. Maybe Kevin has some kind of deep hidden meaning for it.
Yeah,
He's just refused.
it
He's a
could be a
mysterious
metaphor.
man.
You know, I was thinking of names, and literally, it's just one of those like things you think of in like the shower, and you're like, "That is such a terrible idea," and I'm laughing about it to myself. I'm like, I really like it.
It's like it's so bad, but
Yeah.
like it's kind of good.
It is. And I remember the specific band practice. I'm like, all right, well, let's see what Paul says. I'm like, Paul, what do you think about the band name Bobbing for Apples?
And immediately I was like, I love it.
Yeah,
And
dude.
Rob's face just dropped.
No.
It was just utter panic. Like, no.
And we just found out earlier that Paul's dad, you know, he's been hearing us play for like a year now, right? And so like, I remember Rob was asking me, he's like, hey Kev, do you think Paul's dad likes us? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's so wholesome.
So like we're
I
like,
really want to impress Paul's dad.
and it just so happens that the one song that Rob hates is like Paul's dad's favorite. It's like,
The song is called Hey Hey, and it's what just fell? Was that a bucket?
I have no idea what that
That
noise was.
reverb is just out of
The
this
reverb.
world. Anyways, yeah, there's this song we have. It's called Hey Hey, and I came up with the bass riff, and it was one of like the initial songs we came up with in like the first couple jams we did together as a group. And I don't know, I think I had some lyrics for them, and then I hated them, so I deleted them, and then now it's just me literally saying this nonsense
Gibber jabber.
gibberish, but I mumble in a way where it makes coherent sense, kind of. But people like the song, and I am confused. But I don't know. That's the story of Hey Hey, I think.
That's all very good stories. I appreciate all of those. Okay. So how long have you guys been writing and playing music, like individually?
what about you, Paul? You can start us off here.
Well, so I started, so my main instrument is drums, and at this point, I guess it's been 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I started actually, what inspired me was the movie School of Rock. I just
Very
loved
good.
it so much. Like, I saw it 3 times in theaters, you know.
It's a class.
And I asked my
Jack
dad.
Black's the man.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, Freddie was a badass.
That was awesome.
Freddie, wherever you are.
Freddie, yeah. And I just asked my dad, I was like, can I get a drum set for Christmas? And he's like, yeah, sure. No hesitation, just boom. So yeah, 15 years. And then when I went to college, I started picking up other instruments, you know, guitar, singing, a little bit of keyboard. And so I guess it's been a pretty solid run for me.
Well, there you go. 15 years. That's really good.
Yeah.
What about you, Rob?
Okay. I have not prepared.
he cannot remember.
Ever. No, I started when I was 19. Because this guy is sitting next to me, actually. Yeah, and he taught me a couple chords, and there were actually times where I was like so frustrated with the guitar. I was like, man, I'm gonna bang on some pots and pans. You play guitar. And then eventually I went back to the guitar and I stuck with it. So since I'm like 24 now, I guess it's been 5 years, and only I think like last year I started, or maybe it was 2017. I can't remember. Time flies. I was at the Raven, and nobody would show up. So it would just be like 2 or 3 like people that wanted to do open mic, and they'd get up on their acoustic and they'd run out of songs, and so the rest of us would just be like drinking at the bar. And I was like, it's kind of like, I don't know, I want to do something productive. And I went to Chris, the bar owner, and I was like, hey, I think I can just play on the house bass for a bit, just like fuck around. And he's like, yeah, sure, go for it. So I went up on stage and I started playing bass, and like I encouraged other people to join me, like Kevin and Sunshine, who runs things over there. And I would just jam with anybody I could on bass, anybody that would have me on stage. And I was like, oh, I like that. So yeah, I guess I became the bassist for the band in that sort of way.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I think Rob says it best. I had a roast earlier this year for my birthday,
Nice.
and Rob's like, Kevin, like, I noticed you play a lot of music. Do you like music? Because I don't really listen to music. So I didn't really have any major influences. I didn't realize until, I guess, I mean, if you think about it now. I started out playing guitar because my brother ended up he was going through a hard time. He's an excellent guitarist. But, you know, he was going through a hard time, and I asked him, like, hey, Stuart, can you teach me a little bit of guitar? Because I was like, it's going to bring us close, you know. It was weird, you know. And then, no, he just got angry. he showed me like 4 chords, and I was terrible. And he's like, you know, but, you know, he put up with it, you know? And so when he got tired of those, he showed me 1 more, you know, and I had my first song within minutes. But eventually he got tired of that down strum that I was constantly doing. He's like, Kevin, try strumming down and up, you know? But yeah, I guess he was the big inspiration behind it. Yeah, definitely. That's how I got into music.
By trying to be a good brother.
I guess
trying
so.
to get his brother to love him.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Well, I was
God.
just trying to help my brother get through a hard time, but yes.
Essentially. I think it's still very noble. So what was the first song or band that you guys really fell in love with for the first time? Do you remember? Do you know?
I do. I'll go first since no one's saying anything. I don't know why. You guys are the music people.
There's so many. It just
Jesus.
takes me a second or 2 to think.
Well, come up with your top 3 then, because
Alright.
you always have more than just one.
All right. So one of my favorite all-time bands is Queen. I would say I love Queen. I love Santana. I think as far as I love Led Zeppelin. I would say as far as bands are concerned, I would say those are my top 3.
Wait, what was the question?
What were any bands or songs that you fell in love with for the first time?
For the first time. Well, I mean, I'd always enjoy music as like a kid, you know, like with my dad. He introduced me to like a lot of bands: Beatles, Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, Queen. Oh my God, The Who. It just goes on and on and on. A lot of classic rock stuff. Dad rock now, as they would say. But also,
Is that what they call it now? Is dad rock?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I guess
call me a total dad if that's the case.
I guess that's me.
But yeah, I always really liked like that stuff. But I remember in high school, unfortunately, like I don't know, I wasn't like, well, middle school, I would say I wasn't like super into like music and stuff. But like, I don't know, the first band that I remember like that made me like crazy, like that started like an obsession, I would say, was Nirvana, because I was just going through like a lot of things in like my junior year and then my senior year of high school, and then a couple years after. Like it was a really hard time for me, but like the anger and like the rawness in Nirvana's music, like I don't know, it just like chills, like, you know, it's like something I can connect to that just, it just feels so like right, you know. And almost I remember having like headphones on and like walking in school and like hearing those songs and just, I don't know, it just felt like this is exactly how I'm feeling at this moment. And it was perfect. And then I guess 2 other bands after that were, of course, like the Beatles that I really resonated with because, I mean, their music is just pure happiness. And like it was like all the happy moments in my childhood. I remember like Beatles songs and, you know, being with like my parents and like my family, like back when like, you know, I was young and before I had all these like things to worry about, all these anxieties, you know, the Beatles were there and they still are for me today. I love them. And I'm just going to say those 2, though I really love the Doors.
Naturally.
I love music so much. I could just keep talking, but I want Paul to say some stuff.
Rob
so.
can keep going. All right, Paul. What
Well,
about you?
So I do remember like the first couple times that I listened to my favorite band, Coheed and Cambria. I first heard them, of course, what was it, Guitar Hero, Welcome Home, where just about everybody had heard of them. And I remember hearing it at first and, you know, just thinking that it was a chick singer until my friend was like, no, this is a guy. I'm like, no way, you're lying. And he's like, nope, it's a guy. And, you know, he ended up, he burnt me a copy of their CD, their third full-length album, Good Apollo and Burning Star 4 Volume 1. And I remember going home and listening to the CD, and it starts off with a little intro song, and there's, you know, you get to the track called Wake Up. I believe it's the second or third, and it's this nice little acoustic thing, but he just has this one line in there where he says, I'll do anything for you, I'll kill anyone for you. And he's just, you know, it's such a nice, beautiful, soft song. I'm like, oh, this stuff's a little fucked. I'm, like, I'm intrigued.
Well, there you go.
And then, you know, you just dive, at least, you know, for me, that just sort of, you know, I dove headfirst into all the concept albums that they had and, you know, the comic books, and here we go.
That's such a great feeling, though. Like finding something for the first time and then immediately diving headfirst into it, whether it's an album or like comic books or a book series or TV shows.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just, it's nice to connect with something like that and want to explore it more. So that's pretty cool. Nice. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. What was the first?
Very nice.
What was the first album you ever bought? Like my first CD was the Backstreet Boys, like their first one, their self-entitled album. That was mine. It's my very first one.
Okay.
I loved it. I still love it.
Backstreet's back.
All right.
Yeah, that's actually beautiful. Damn.
Beautiful moment.
That was good.
Well,
Wow, the sexual tension in the room is
There's a lot happening. Yeah.
So I guess I'll go. I do remember the first CD I bought. It was actually the first band that I got into right around middle school. I bought Good Charlotte's album. I believe it was the which one was it? It was either their first or their second one. I gotta look it up right now, but I remember just going into Walmart, you know, and
I'm sorry, my jacket is. I'm just so amazed by this microphone that I can pick up my leather jacket. I hope it doesn't catch like
It's a
me
really good
farting or
sound.
something.
It always catches Andrew's weird burps and stuff, so it probably will. It's okay.
Okay,
alright.
Paul, let's get back. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I was just about wrapped up. It was their self-titled album actually.
Good Charlotte.
Yeah, and yeah, they were. I liked a lot of pop punk, so you know it kind of led me down that road through high school.
Pop punk is always a safe place to call home for us
Yeah.
90s kids.
Pizza.
I've been calling it
Yeah.
home recently.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Chris has been listening to a lot of pump punk as a pump punk. Punk punk.
Pump punk.
Pop punk.
Punk punk.
Yeah.
Pop punk.
Yeah. Yeah,
Pup punk.
yep.
It's just like puppies, and
Yes.
they're like they want to go home.
They're barking.
Oh
yeah.
my god. Okay.
Yeah, my first CD, I remember I was at a flea market and my dad gave me $4 to go and buy any used first CD that I wanted to, and I looked and I looked and I looked and I saw this one that looked really cool, and I picked it up, and it was Nirvana's Nevermind.
Oh my god.
And it had like all these like
Rob really loves
it.
Nirvana.
Yeah, it had a you know, that like cool like light refracting in like the pool's water. I don't know. Paul's the science guy, but it looked really cool. And I guess the naked baby looked cool too. I was like, why is it chasing the dollar? What is
Weird.
why is he? Well, I'm not assuming it's okay. Well,
Anyways.
Sorry, Rob.
I remember I like listened to that CD on the way home that day with him, and I was like, wow, what is this? And it was just like, I don't know, it's just one of those like, you know, like those moments that you have like in music where it's like, what the, and I ended up listening to that until it was unlistenable, or until I just scratched the shit out of it. You know, it's not like a tape or anything.
God bless
but
streaming music now.
yeah.
Never,
That was
can never run out now.
that was my first CD.
Beautiful.
There we go.
What was your first CD, Meg?
It was the Backstreet Boys.
You said that.
I know.
What about you, Chris?
Boyfriends
I-
were supposed to listen.
I really have no idea. It might have been Shinedown. There's a pretty good chance. Or I just took my dad's Van Halen CD.
All right.
All right.
That's
Stealing
probably a little bit
counts, too.
cooler. No. That story.
That's unfortunately the best I've got.
My
Was
dad
it-
listened to Creed, so that's
Oh.
way worse than Van Halen. I would rather my dad
I'm
listen.
10 feet from the edge and I'm
Yeah.
Hey, I like Creed, okay? I like Creed.
You know,
I'm just
Nick
kidding,
does
I
an
don't really-
incredible
Sense.
Creed.
I don't really know any
impersonation.
Creed songs.
Who does?
Nick's ears.
Tell him I have to see that impersonation
Okay.
immediately.
Well, we have to see
Okay.
it, period.
Yes, that's
Uh,
also true.
fucking
All right, Kevin,
All
first album. Hit me with it.
So this is gonna be weird, but the first album I bought actually wasn't with my own money, or
That's okay.
Still, like I never bought albums. The first album I bought was actually an independent artist at one of their shows at the Raven when I first entered the community, and that was actually Molly Jane Gain. So I thought she had a. This guy's a fucking ass. Am I allowed to swear in here?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing? Yeah. Well, I like her.
How old were you?
I don't fucking know how old I was. It was like maybe 3 years ago when I entered this. No, I'm 24 now. I entered when I
I
was
think
like
that's
20.
the only part about this story that's really incredible is that it was 3 years ago before you actually bought a CD.
Yeah, I was 20 years. I was 20 years old, and I had a few friends who were on the bill. I remember being so like I was like whoa, like you know I was excited, and I like Molly's voice is just like incredible. I don't know.
No, she is a good singer.
But and like I love that album. I would say it's still probably it's in my top 3 favorite independent albums I have by artists in our community, and I would say so. Yeah.
Hell yeah to local music.
Yeah.
Always support local music. Are you guys like?
Huh?
Do you guys listen to more individual songs like playlists, or do you listen to more albums when you listen to music?
When I listen to music, I listen to albums.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like flop back and forth between the two, but I'll get on a really good album binge and just like listen to 4 or 5 in a row.
I listen to whatever pops into my head at the time. Like, I'm one of those people that if there's like a song that's been in my head all day, I just can't let it go, and I'll listen to it, and that's the only way the song will stop haunting me. But it always turns out that I was listening to that song in my head for like a reason. But I mostly like to listen to an album in order
Mm-hmm.
because of albums like Abbey Road and Sgt. Pepper's and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
Concept albums that tell a story that has to be listened to in
Yes.
a row.
And like, I don't know, my fear is to like listen to a great album for the first time, like totally out of order or a couple songs, and it just kind of spoils the whole
You
thing.
lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually one of my most annoying music listening habits ever. Like I have friends who'll be like, let's just play this album, dude, or let's just listen to the song. I'll be like, oh, I haven't heard that album yet. No, don't play it.
You have to listen to it in its entirety.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
Respectable.
Because like I don't know, I feel like album order used to be a thing that was like, you know, really respected and had some like time like put into it, like at least back in the day. But I mean, now that we live in a, you know, age of music streaming and stuff, a lot of people just listen to the singles or the good parts of the album and they just skip the rest.
The filler songs.
Yeah, I just think that's kind of lame.
It is lame.
Yeah.
But then you see bands like the Lumineers who are putting together concept albums. Like their last album was a huge concept album that had to be listened to in order. They dropped a few singles, but like even those few singles that they dropped were like that. It was like an EP that they dropped all together, and you had to listen to it in order.
Sounds pretty cool. I ought to
Yeah.
listen to them.
Albums are becoming more of like a artistic thing again, where like they're telling
I hope
stories,
so.
not just like doing a few singles and then
collection.
Yeah.
whatever songs like the songwriting people in the studio put together. So that's pretty nice.
I actually heard something recently from Tool's guitars, like Adam Jones, and I don't know. They were just explaining why it took like Tool so long to put out like an actual
13 years.
yeah yeah, and
Do you know the number of days?
part of the reason was I
He
think
was
they were locked in a contract where they couldn't yet. But another reason is because he brought up that like the album isn't respected anymore. That it's just like, you know, mostly just people just come and go for a good time. You know, music is now kind of like, you know, Tinder. You know, swipe right, swipe left. You know,
It's so
you never
annoying.
just meet up with that person and appreciate them and then swipe left.
It's coming back though. The indie genres, I think, is bringing that back a lot more.
I am totally into that.
I know. It's the rise of the indie bands. We'll get there. Don't worry.
Hell yeah.
We'll have another musical renaissance.
I don't even think you necessarily have to. I mean, I love concept albums, but I don't think you necessarily have to have a concept album to have like a
No,
uniform package
you don't.
that's
That's
still
true.
worth
Like
listening
an album,
through.
yes.
You know,
The term concept album can be a little confusing. Just
very
'cause, like,
esoteric.
yeah, just because like it's supposed to be an album that like puts forth a concept, but just because it's putting forth a concept like doesn't necessarily make it a concept album. Sometimes it can just be a story that you want to tell, and that's not necessarily a concept.
It doesn't have to have a particular theme in
No.
mind, you know. I mean, what was the theme of Sgt. Pepper's?
The theme of Sgt. Pepper's was that it was the Beatles pretending not to
The
be
fake
the
band,
Beatles
yeah.
and being Sgt. Pepper's.
That's
that
true.
was the concept.
It was their alter ego.
Yeah.
Originally, their idea for that album was to kind of come up with like an album that would take you into their childhood and like all these places. Like Penny Lane was supposed to be on that album.
A lot of people think that Magical Mystery Tour and Sgt. Pepper should have just been a double album.
Hmm.
Because Magical Mystery Tour was basically just Paul McCartney trying to do Sgt. Pepper's again. But, like, you can't do a second Sgt. Pepper's. That's just, like, impossible.
Yeah, no.
So,
But I do love both those albums. It's just they're just two different things that I love.
yeah, I mean, they both feature songs from their childhood.
Yeah.
So I feel like I definitely think that they should have just smushed them.
Mm.
But, you know.
Strawberry Fields was like the thing where it was like taking Lennon back to his childhood, where like what was it? Not it was either a park or an
It was
orphanage.
an old orphanage.
yeah, yeah. So that was, you know, his way of talking about his childhood, which was obviously super trippy, and he was remembering it while taking LSD or something.
So
and then,
much.
And then Paul's was more picturesque, where he made up characters, but I mean, he still kind of included the places and stuff. But it's all about telling a story.
Yeah, so that's Beatles rant in the middle of discussing
Yeah, we're the
albums.
Beatles.
We're the Beatles. You have to say it with a Liverpool accent.
I'm Paul. And I'm John. And I'm Ringo.
You have to do the woo at the end. else it's not really him.
I don't know if I could do a Harrison. I just did the other as well, so I'm like, what if I fuck up Harrison? Shit.
You can't fuck up Harrison.
First
man.
three were on point.
Yeah.
I know. Don't overthink it.
We're waiting for it. Just
I'm
FYI.
not
We're-
continuing until you finish it.
Oh, how does George talk?
He's very sassy.
Oh man.
I'm George Harrison.
Maybe I have to do it in order. Hello, I'm Paul. And I'm John. Oh crap, I messed it up.
We can cut it. Don't worry.
Fix it in
The magic
post.
of editing.
Quick, end the live stream.
Oh man. Wait, okay.
Here we go.
I am the Beatles.
You
I'm
got
thinking
this.
about their time in India.
Just do your
There you
vocal
go.
warm-ups in British.
Hello, I'm Paul. And I'm John. Wait, fuck. No. I
John
think
is
it-
more nasally.
I know. I had it at first, and then it passed.
You're putting too much pressure on yourself.
You know
man.
what?
Yeah.
Think about it, and then in the middle of any of these questions, you can just be like, "Hi, I'm Paul," and like,
We'll stop. We'll all-
Okay. Yeah.
just wait until you feel it,
Yes.
and then just start doing it, and we'll all shut up, and it'll be awesome.
Okay.
You got this.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So-
I'll surprise you guys.
Yeah, that'll be great. It's gonna be the best. Okay, Paul, do you listen to albums now that we've got our little rants out of the way?
Yeah, I'm definitely an album person. I
Yeah.
mean, I fall in love with any concept album pretty much. You know, Mastodon is a really good, heavier band. A lot of the Rush stuff, definitely.
Big Rush fans.
Yeah, The Who. I mean, they had a couple of really solid ones there.
Mhm.
So
Tommy.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot to bring it for you.
Oh, I was supposed to remind you.
Oh, bitch! I was supposed to bring Tommy for Rob because he hasn't listened to it, and I have it on vinyl,
It's
and
one of those
it comes with
concept
a really
albums.
cool,
Yep.
pinball wizard and all that shit, and it comes with like a really cool packet of like trippy pictures, and I'll see you soon.
Halloween time, baby.
Oh,
Yeah, you can
that's
just
true.
go through my records at my Halloween party, and you can borrow whatever ones you want.
I'm just gonna take the whole damn thing.
Okay, well, don't do that. There's a lot of good ones in there.
I would have no room in my house anyways. I have like,
You do have a lot. I still gotta get some Beach Boys and
oh my god.
and
they're
some
the best.
Bowie, some original Bowie. I don't have any of those.
I have Space
Mm.
Oddity.
What?
Mhm. It's good.
That's awesome.
Ground Control to Major Tom. Yeah. Paul's a
Ground control.
Bowie fan. He
Yes,
was-
actually.
I have a
Ground
Bowie
Control
tattoo on
to
my
Major
arm.
Unfortunately,
Tom.
I did not get into him until the year he passed away, like a few months before he passed away.
Yeah.
I just,
I mean, I got into him after he passed
Why
away.
why did you kill him?
I know it felt that it felt that way.
He just loved him so much.
No one else could have him but you.
You remember that show Last Man on Earth, or it was on
Yeah.
Fox? So the main character's brother started playing a Bowie song on his acoustic guitar, and I heard it. I'm just like, this is awesome. It's about outer space. I love outer space. Like,
Who doesn't love
you know,
outer space?
yeah. So, and then I started diving into his stuff, and like, I kid you not, for probably the next 3 months, every time I, like exercise in the morning, I'm just like, all right, Bowie album, like
Yeah.
front to back, done.
Yeah. Bowie
And-
was a phenomenal
Yeah.
artist and a performer, and all of his alter egos were incredible, and all the movies he did. I mean, he was all over the place.
I mean, what I appreciate about him probably the most is his his variety in his musical styles, while still feeling like he's not selling out or not. He has these dancey sort of funk albums, and then he'll go and do just sort of that psychedelic rock that was early in his career, and then even like the sort of more of the experimental albums that he did in the 80s, and the fact that it still all felt like David Bowie. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like he was trying to pretend to be something else.
Which is important.
Because he did it all so well.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Bowie was a genius, a musical genius.
Except for dancing on the street. That song is.
All right,
John-
we found a sore spot with Rob.
Yeah. John Lennon actually wrote his David Bowie's most streamed song,
Really?
which I know. And now, is it?
We have
It's
Google.
Let's Dance. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, where's my Spotify? But yeah, John Lennon wrote it for him. When he went out after he cheated on Yoko to L.A. Stayed with Bowie for a little while. They did a cover of Across the Universe.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The more you know. He was also on a lot of heroin at the time, but we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Let's Dance. No, Fame. He wrote Fame. I'm an idiot.
Okay, there we go.
John Lennon wrote Fame.
Huh.
And that was like David Bowie's #1 song at the time.
We gotta listen to that on the way back.
Okay.
Yeah. You can definitely tell it was a John Lennon song, I think. Not necessarily from the instruments, but the lyricism,
He's
for
a
sure.
beautiful poet with his words.
He was. Which brings me to my next question. Who would you say are your biggest inspirations for you, both lyrically and musicianship? Like lyricism. Listen,
It's gonna take.
I
me a
was
while.
pretty high when I wrote these questions
I
earlier.
already fucked off the Backstreet Boys. I'm listening now.
Yeah, I was really high when I wrote these questions, but they're good questions. So, do you guys have any big inspirations for you, songwriting wise, or the way you play your instruments and whatnot?
Well, collectively, we're just such a. I mean, we all have such different styles in terms of our backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's necessarily one big band that we can all point to and say that's kind of who we all gravitate towards individually. So I guess that's a non-answer to your question, but
I mean, it still counts as an answer. There's too much to talk about, I guess.
That's a tough one. I don't think directly I go out and seek to what would Paul McCartney do, or but
You could.
you could, yeah. My approach to songwriting for me personally, it's I first pick out the chords I like, and then I hum the melody, and then the lyrics and all these different ideas kind of just come to my mind, or at least that's the way it has been in the past. But recently this year, it's just been so much, and songs have been coming a little bit harder, but we're working through that.
Yeah, it happens. You'll get through it.
Rob's giving me a little back rub. I appreciate it.
Some more sexual tension.
Actually, it's more platonic love.
Oh.
I felt so comforted.
Oh.
He doesn't like me. It's Paul that he has.
Oh my God.
I'm just the friend.
The middleman.
Yeah, I am a music man, so I have a lot of influences. Just like a lot. Like, I don't know. I could just talk about 'em the whole interview, but I'm not going to. But
We'll have Rob on
I'll just
again.
throw some names out, and whatever comes out of this mouth comes out of this mouth. Okay. So Jim Morrison, great lyricist, great singer.
Great
Love his
poet.
voice. He influences me a lot. Every member of the Beatles. Well, not really Ringo, but I love Ringo. But
That's right.
Octopus's
Fuck you,
Garden
Ringo.
didn't fucking inspire you at all? Really?
well, it did, but just not. I mean,
to eat seafood.
did he write those lyrics though?
He did. He only wrote Octopus's Garden and Don't Pass Me By. Those are the only two songs that.
Don't Pass Me
Ringo.
By is an awesome song. In case Ringo ever listens to this,
Last year, Paul, I'm thinking Paul McCartney now, even though I'm staring right at you, Rob. Me and Rob had discussed getting really, really drunk and recording our own cover of Don't Pass Me By and just seeing what happened.
don't pass me by, don't make me blue, man.
That's pretty much what it would sound like, but with also terrible guitar playing.
Oh,
But-
yeah, it'd be terrible. But
I think Ringo would like it. Maybe not. He's super sober now.
I would,
He went
yeah,
to rehab.
I would meet both Ringo and Paul totally, which is why I'm not gonna diss them a lot. But anyways,
It's easy to roast both of them, as awesome as they are.
so Who else? Kurt Cobain, obviously. Jimi Hendrix for sure. That guy has beautiful imagery in his songs. Bob Dylan. Oh yeah, the lead singer and guitar player for Brand New. I always thought his lyrics were very beautiful.
Interesting. Okay.
I used to listen to them a lot.
Look at Kevin's face.
No, I'm just looking at the fucking
Oh.
thing. Why?
I thought you were reacting to him like Brand New. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking that, but it's only because I don't know who they are.
They're not as popular as the other ones, but they always were like a really like interesting like sound wise band. Though I don't listen to them very often because they make me sad. You know how it is with sad music.
Yeah.
Well, you love it, so you listen to it. You just get sad after.
At Bon Iver.
I
who
love Pink
else?
Floyd, and I feel that way about them sometimes. It just
Wait,
hits me so
question.
hard.
Question. This came into mind really quick. So you guys get sad like while you're listening to sad music? Like you guys don't feel like comforted in in any way?
Not really. I just get way more sad.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Dude.
see. I save sad music for when I'm a sad boy.
Yeah,
so
and I think that's
weird.
how I
Feed
feel.
into it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. No, I mean like when I listen to sad music, I'm like, all right. All right. I feel great. It's not only me.
Look at that dickhead. He's so sad.
Yeah, dude.
Kevin's emotional range is from happy to very happy.
Everyone says that though.
I don't think I've seen him once where he didn't at least smile for a little bit. You know, like I don't think I've ever seen you.
Is that true, Rob? You've known me the longest here.
Dude, they used to call you Smiley at high school.
I feel like that's definitely true.
Oh, God. I don't know. I guess those are my go-to emotions. I don't know.
I mean, I never saw you sad in high school.
I guess. Wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
I went to high school with you for 4 years, and you always seemed pretty
Yeah. I mean,
better than
different
everybody else.
different people have seen different sides of me, you know, and I have to admit, I mean, I haven't been my best self, and I mean, especially in recent times, you know, but you know, it's one of those things where you're growing as a person. You want to, you know, you make mistakes, you know what I mean? So right now, I'm still trying to I guess, crawl out of the ashes, you know what I mean?
This is too
So.
deep for a music podcast, Kevin. We gotta cut
Oh
that
yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'm all about it.
No, it's not too deep at all.
All right, well, I'll just shut up now. Goodbye.
It's those moments where like the best stuff comes out.
In this podcast room, we get real deep.
Oh my gosh.
The
With
sexual
our-
tension is back.
My pants are roiling.
I'm Poe. Joan.
I'm Paul.
Yo,
I'm
please,
John.
please tell that story, dude, about the Beatles. Tell that story. The gross story, the fucking really, really gross one.
Oh,
Because
God.
people won't know this story.
The gross Beatles
The really
story?
gross one. Is that not
No.
appropriate? That's not appropriate.
No, I
Look it
don't
up.
wanna talk about that one.
That's not appropriate.
What
Okay.
one?
No.
All the sexual tension in the room.
You don't know. It might just.
You don't know.
It might bring it.
Some people are pretty freaky, Rob.
Some people.
They say 1 in 5 people is into bondage, and there's 5 of no.
It's one of us. Rob's
I was just like, no.
I'm just kidding. I don't know the statistics, so.
Next question. wait. Did we all answer that last one? How did we get here?
Yeah.
Podcast in the middle of fucking nowhere. Where are we? Where are we?
We've drifted off.
This is what fucking happens, dude, every single time. we just get derailed.
I think it's magical.
It is. Yeah.
I told you, it's the art of conversation.
Fuck scripts.
Fuck scripts. Improv all the way.
Yeah.
All
You know,
right.
it's a beautiful thing. I really like, one of the things I like about being in Bobbing for Apples is that, we're.
I just love the way how you're like, one thing I really love about being in Bobbing for Apples is bobbing. It's like a happy kind of like name. You're like Bobbing for Apples. I hope they're like people. I hope we like become famous and they're people are like so pretentious. They're like Bobbing for Apples. You know what I mean? They're like, it's just like
You just want to hear it said that way.
Bobbing for Apples. It's just more than a band. You don't understand. It's like, I just feel it. I just feel the bobbing.
It's a way of life.
Great.
Oh my god.
I have it tattooed on my arm. It's just, it's not music, man. It's a way of life. Do you, Bob?
Dude, oh, okay. I wish we had like more light in here because that face was so
It
perfect.
was so good, dude.
Dude, have like a chicken on the fucking logo because they kind of bob.
They bob. Chickens
God.
bob.
No,
Most
Oh, I
birds.
thought you meant a girl. I was like, oh God.
well,
No chicken.
Like a
Chicken.
naked
Woo!
lady holding an apple. I don't know about that.
question though, like, what was that thing? I should not have made that joke, but I really want to hear that answer.
What joke?
You're like, my favorite thing about being in bobbing for apples.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, I mean, during band practice, we mostly stick to the set list, or we'll focus on new songs occasionally. But like occasionally, they'll just be like that little, I don't know, spark. And oh, is this pen exploding? No, it's not. But I just shot
And
Paul.
there it is.
I'm sorry,
I
Paul.
was so nervous to wear this white shirt today. Thank God.
But we feel that spark, and we just kind of like roll with it. You know, it'll be like maybe it'll start out with like, you know, like a drum beat, or like Kevin will just be like wailing away at his guitar, and I'll be like, and then I'll just play a bass line, boom, 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 you know, and we get something like rolling, and it's like, fire has been lit. It's like magic, dude.
We need to record that shit more though, because
Immediately forget it.
yeah, all the time. Especially like we did this this version of a song that me and Paul were working on. I don't know where you were, Rod, that day, but you walked in on it. But then like the next practice we worked on it, it was such a magical take, but we did not record it, and it was such a great
Was it Get Out of My Head?
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah.
You guys will probably never hear that one, but at least for a couple years.
That's okay. It'll be good when we do.
What is this, Limp?
So you already answered the other question that I had after that, so that was awesome.
Look at that.
What milestones are you guys most proud of as a band right now?
Wait, can we all answer that question? Our favorite thing about being in Bobbing for Apples?
I mean, my question was about like how you guys write songs, and
Oh, never
There
mind.
you go.
Rob kind of did that. But you can tell
That-
me what your favorite thing is about being in Bobbing for Apples.
Can we come back to that one?
I gotta figure it out.
I don't even remember answering that. I just remember answering it.
That's okay. That's how we get the best stuff. So yeah, what milestones are you guys most proud of right now? I guess as a band and also as individual artists.
Well, we're very new, so I guess our formation is probably the biggest milestone so far.
There, well, that counts.
I mean, we've been playing together for about 9 months now, 10 months. So, you know, we just started recording recently. Don't even have merch yet, but you know, that's like on the horizon, all that.
Hell yeah. I'll get a hat.
Hat.
We'll have to get hats then.
Dad hat. Yes,
Dad
Bobbing
hat.
for Apples dad hats.
See, this is why we need to survey people about merch. You know.
Everyone loves dad hats.
I guess if I could answer that personally, so this March, I actually went on tour for a month for my solo project.
Very good.
So that was really fulfilling.
That's awesome.
Easily the best month of my life. So.
Congratulations. No, that's so great.
What's your solo project called?
It's called Universe Number 122.
Here, that's Universe number 122. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Milestones. Yeah, I would have to say, other than the formation of the band, I would have to say when we did our first show at the Raven, that was really fucking cool.
Awesome.
So like, I don't know. It was on my bucket list to do. I don't know what's happening. here.
Dude, yo, the Instagram live is facing the wall. Oh no.
Kevin forgot to use the
I
little
captured
reverse
a lot
trip
of
there.
special moments, didn't it?
Oh man.
You can't even see
Guys,
us. It's so dark.
I can see Rob. Rob, can you see anyone else?
Dude, I'm
It's
wearing
really dark in here.
sunglasses. I can't see.
Hey,
shit.
there we go.
There we go. All right.
I went
That
my
is so funny, dude.
sunglasses at-
That is great.
There you go. Now you guys have some light on you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah, but
all right, we're good.
yeah, that first show meant a lot to me. Kevin and I both got the same cold somehow, and I drank a lot of Dayquil to stay up and not lose my voice and stuff, and it was pretty awesome. And a lot of our friends came, and a lot of our family, and we got like a lot of positive feedback, and it was just like, wow, I just feel so happy and so proud of like the band and of me, and it was just really cool.
Amen.
I liked it.
That was a really wholesome answer.
It was.
No, it was sweet.
I'm right there with Rob, and Paul. I don't know anyway. As far as milestones, I'm honestly impressed with how fast like things have been happening. It's honestly a little stressful sometimes to be real. Like I was not expecting to be. I mean, we have our first out of town gig, out of like Massachusetts gig. Our first 2 coming up. Like what?
Where are they?
I don't know, Paul.
We'll actually be playing in Portland, Maine, in December, so that's gonna be
Hell
really
yeah.
cool. The other one,
Is that December 14th?
yes,
And
December
where
14th.
are you playing?
Uh,
Shameless plug. Plug away. I'm
Okay,
serious.
All right.
Let everybody know where you're gonna be at. What
that
you
was
dropping.
called the Flask. That one,
Okay. So
the Flask in Portland, Maine.
and on what day?
December 14th,
There you go.
Saturday.
There we go.
And recording and the number of songs that we have like that we put together. Like I've been solo, I've been doing acoustic stuff my entire time. So it's like, I never imagined what we would sound like as a band if I were to be a part of one. But I'm really proud of the fact that like our songs are also, they have different influences, they're also different, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it all sounds like us. The same thing with what you guys said about David Bowie. I just love that. And other milestones, I would say we got through our first big. First off, the Portland thing was a huge decision, start doing that out. But we got through our first 2 big band things that kind of go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There was a speaker that actually got blown out of Paul's, like our recording speaker, not our recording speaker, but our show speakers and our practice things. And, it was just interesting to think that, we're going, like, it's becoming real now. You know what I mean? Eventually there are going to be times where, like, let's say we're on our way to a show and, like, a van breaks down. Like,
Yeah, it'll happen.
but I'm just saying, like, it's crazy. Like, I never thought that, it truly is. It's like, it's weird. It's weird being a part of this journey. So.
You guys are making bonds not a lot of people get to experience in their lives.
That is
like
true.
together as bandmates, and that's really cool. Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Thought he was gonna say something and then he didn't.
Cool beans.
Oh, yo, Catherine said she's like waving or something. I don't know.
My Catherine?
Yeah, you're Catherine.
Oh, hi, Catherine. I love you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh shit.
Bye, Catherine.
The phone just fucking fell over.
Bye, Catherine.
All right, let's edit that. All right.
So when are you guys planning on like dropping your first single or your first album? And if you are going to be dropping an album, do you have like an idea or like a
Are we
concept
dropping
for
an
it?
album? Or are we dropping like just a few songs first?
So we haven't decided if it's going to be like an EP or full length. Yeah, I mean, you always think when you're going through the process of recording, as we are right now, you're like, oh, well, it'll be done in like 6 months, and then it's a year and a half later, and you're like just releasing it, just because you don't see how much work it's going to be until you really get into the thick of it.
Mhm.
I mean, so if I had to give my realistic estimate, maybe like sometime next summer if it's going to be an EP.
Cool.
So summer 2020.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep an eye out.
All I know is that we're going to drop it like it's hot. Expect that.
Plan for it. Is there any reason you can't make your first, like, full length project a greatest hits album?
Yeah, really throw him for a curveball.
That'll be the album title, Greatest Hits.
Nice. I approve.
We've actually had some cool like concept ideas.
Mhm.
I think this is a concept idea, but I don't think we were
If
talking
you
about
say
it.
it is, I think it is.
We were talking about. I mean, in regards to like themes of an album. Like I remember, like I think it was Paul's idea where he's like, guys, this is me pretending to be Paul. He doesn't talk like that. He's like,
You have to do a deep
guys,
rumble.
what do you think if we do like a different apple for like every album? I thought that was genius.
That is good. No, I like it.
And then Rob's like, he's making that face like,
Rob.
like you didn't contribute to the good idea.
Hey.
No. Before you talk, Rob was like, yeah, like what if we have a whole bunch of bitter songs and we can call it the Granny Smith album? I have the Instagram and he's yes.
I just don't know about Macintosh as an album name.
I think Macintosh is a
I like
great
it.
album. Honeycrisp, that's a
Jazz.
good name.
Oh my God.
I like Pink Lady.
Yeah, Pink Lady.
My man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at this.
Just not a Macintosh guy.
Granny Smith.
Red
We
Delicious
don't need
is
greatest
okay.
hits.
Can an Apple company sue?
No, I don't think so.
Actually,
Can they?
I'd bet that there are like proprietary Apple blends.
Yeah, I would say anything that's probably newer. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody at least tried to. You know what I mean? They're like,
Trademarked.
What about the name McDonald's?
we just made the Tiger
There-
Apple last year. You can't call your album that. You know?
What's crazy though is that there was actually a guy who had a local restaurant called McDonald's. The big like corporation McDonald's actually sued them.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Getting all the
Old
money they
McDonald had a farm, motherfucker.
can.
Get out.
Well, farmers are actually they are trying to persuade the government to get almond milk and things of that nature to not be allowed to be called milk because they think it should be restricted to something that comes from basically a mammal.
Oh my God, I
That's
hate this.
basically
I don't even
anything
want to.
that-
I hate that so much. I don't even want to talk about
While
it.
we're on that subject,
That's so infuriating.
while we're on that subject, one I find infuriating, people calling hot dogs sandwiches. Hot dogs are not sandwiches.
I guess technically they are. It's
No,
a piece
they're-
of meat between two pieces of bread.
If that's what you
It's a
define
com-
as the
it's-
definition
it's,
of a...
It's a completely different thing, though. It's like they come from a different area. No, they don't. But, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're it's
too
their own
vertical.
thing. All right, that's it. I'm done. I just had to get that out.
Anything to contribute?
I'm not really that passionate about hot dogs.
I keep grabbing the mic like I want to talk, but then I change my mind.
He puts it back.
I like how you have like a dramatic flair. Like,
He does have a dramatic.
I was
flair.
watching this thing on Facebook too, where there's this guy named Rob McCarthy. He's a booker, and his children are actually in this band called Circus Trees. They're really good. You should probably get them on here. They're really talented.
Okay, dope. Check
Um,
'em out.
But he posted something on Facebook earlier today where he's like, I saw a poll of like a list of musicians and people were voting, and then I saw sexiest musician. And I was like, nope. And then this whole feed was just blowing up. People saying, oh my God, sexy musician. and then, but yeah, I think I could easily go for most dramatic.
Superlatives.
Oh, man.
So, Chris, do you want to ask any of these questions before I just keep plowing through them?
Yeah.
We're on number 6.
Well, how about
Or you
we
can
make that 7?
You can pick whatever the
Nope.
fuck
what's
you
wrong
want.
with 6?
7, 8, 9?
Nope.
7 did eat 9.
And we didn't give him a
Consensually.
harsh enough punishment.
Oh my God, Catherine is arguing with me. She says hot dogs are sandwiches and cereal is no, it's not, Catherine.
What was she about to say about cereal?
She's saying cereal is soup, Catherine. That is not true. Rob, tell your girlfriend cereal is not soup.
Did you know tomato is a fruit?
Oh yeah, it is. I'm not arguing that.
Oh man.
I think you kind of already covered it. Well, no,
Yeah,
I
I mean-
retract that. Nope, I'm taking it back.
Okay.
Cut it. I didn't say anything.
Just say it real fast. Just say it.
What do you think your biggest struggle has been so far as a band and individual artist?
Are you trying to give me a job? 'Cause that
You
sounds
want
exact. Yeah, I do. But that kind of sounds like the story I was telling them earlier.
I bid $5.
Sold.
What did I buy?
You bought a question, which goes like this. What do you think your biggest struggle has been so far, both as a band and individual artists?
I'll take deep questions for 500, Alex.
Well, if
We
it's
can
deep
start like a
questions,
payment
it's all right.
plan. We can, it's figured out.
Just that makes me on edge. Because like in school, I would just try to genuinely think of a question, and some wise ass would just do that song, and I would just feel on the spot. Be like, well,
Sweating.
2 plus 2. And then it'd be like, okay, next. And I'd be like, oh, well, I'm a dumbass. But to answer that question, I guess the hardest thing is just probably like, working, like having a job and like paying bills and stuff like that, where I mean, my dream goal is to just be at a place in life where I can just keep writing and
Amen.
and just like just keep being creative without any restrictions. And I know that's probably the dream for a lot of artists, and that's just the way the world is. That's kind of an impossibility, and it's kind of like a lot of good writing comes from those like small magic moments that are few and far between, that just kind of happen, even probably because you were busy and maybe bored too. But yeah, the struggle is working a job.
Yeah.
Man,
Snaps to that.
don't want to work a job. Well, I guess I do, but I just really want to do what I love the most. And that's to write music.
We want to get paid to do the art that we create.
Yes.
That's a good job.
That's a job I could see myself doing for the rest of my life.
Yes. Sure, we can all relate.
What about you, Paul? When was the last time Paul said something? When you ask more questions to Paul?
Kevin's put me on the spot.
What conditioner do
That's
you use?
what I was going to ask.
What
It was on all our minds.
Can we please shine the light on Paul so that people can see this?
So, shout out to my sister. She is a hairdresser, so I have access to the Paul Mitchell Tea Tree product line. So
Yes.
at a highly discounted rate.
Paul giving you people his secrets.
Oh yeah, I'll sell them all.
$5.
Sold.
I guess
Nope.
the original question, the non-hair product question.
Always comes back.
This is gonna sound like I'm throwing shade at these guys here, but for me, personally, my biggest struggle in the past has been working with other musicians.
I don't think that's throwing shade. I
Yeah.
think that's being honest.
Yeah. Well, so far it's been great with working, with Rob and Kevin and bobbing for apples. I mean,
Bobbing for apples.
yeah, this is the quickest I've ever started recording with a band.
That's awesome.
So, but I've been in other bands, and you get with other musicians, and you get a lot of lip service about about how into it they are and how they want to make it their profession. And that's what I truly want to do. I do want to make it my profession, and everybody's on board with that. And then it comes time to pony up money for something. It's like, or it comes time to like, guys, all right, we need to book something here. Can somebody do, some of this? Can somebody do some more social media? And, it just doesn't happen. And then you, after a year or two, you realize, I guess nobody really cares about it the way I do. And, I don't want to say it's a wasted year, but, when you first leave it, you go, damn, I could have been doing something else. I could have.
Yeah.
And, that's sort of what, that's why I was doing a solo project for so long, and why I was a little hesitant, to jump back into a band. after a little while.
But you did it,
I did.
and it's coming out great.
I did. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add, Kevin? You're the only one that hasn't added to this.
Oh yeah, I have a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
What's been the biggest struggle for you so far?
Oh yeah, in regards to band and solo, Paul hit the nail on the head. Really, I was hesitant doing a band too, just because I was like, people.
Finding somebody compatible is hard to like work with that intimately.
It is.
Never mind creatively.
It's worse than dating. You gotta find at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah. And my fear was like, it's a lot of different personalities, and for me, like I was solo because I just like to make decisions, and that has been a huge issue for me in regard to this band too. It's something I really had to learn, and it's weird. It's like I've learned a lot about this, but it applies to like personal relationships with other people as well. It's like, oh wow, like, you know what I mean? So I've learned a lot from these guys, and I think, that's what I'm trying to take away from it is I'm trying to let, it's a collaborative effort, in regards to, what Paul said earlier about this guy over here. But in regards to what
It's like, what the fuck?
in regards
I feel attacked.
no,
This
I'm
is a
saying
safe
I'm
space,
saying
Kevin.
no. But what I'm saying is, in regards to what Paul said earlier, it's like, we don't have our entire lives to do this, So I don't like a lot of the things too, like where a lot of the mistakes where I have made, because, we all make mistakes, especially in like, friendships and bands and stuff. But it's like, it's me trying to like keep us moving along. And in regard to like, I want to set goals that way we could have like our first single out, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And, I think setting goals is really going to help us with this, And,
Absolutely.
but yeah, those are the things. And social media, we need to work on our social media presence as well, and which is why,
We're live streaming now.
Yeah, we're live streaming now. So, and Kat, I know you stand by, but I still disagree. Hot dogs are not sandwiches. And cereal? Soup? Really? All right, continue. Rob, where do you stand on this really quick? Is cereal soup? You haven't said anything.
He's not going to.
He's a smart man.
Tomatoes are fruit.
He did give us that input.
Wow. Put on the spot. I just, I put the milk in the bowl and I just enjoy the cereal.
Do you put the milk in before the cereal or after?
I'm kind
Oh,
of a
man.
Captain Crunch guy, and
Okay.
I don't know.
That's not answering my question, Rob.
Wow, it's getting hot.
I do have what is to me a very important question, and one which I spent a long time walking around our college cafeteria asking people.
Oh, yeah?
Jesus
After
Christ.
you finish cereal, do you drink the
Of
milk?
course.
Yes. You drink
Of
the
course.
milk.
You can't waste that.
Why, do you not drink the milk? What are you?
No, first of all, don't you come at me.
You're asking the question as if it's normal not to drink
I'm
the milk.
asking the questions around here.
I know.
This is our
Of
podcast.
course I drink the milk.
Okay, good. So what inspired that question?
I don't know. Some idiot said that they didn't.
Some
Oh.
whoever you are, some idiot from Framingham State University. You're fucking wrong. Your cereal habits are wrong.
Also seems like a lot of there was an interesting split in the genders. A lot of women didn't drink the milk. Most men did.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Interesting.
didn't draw any further
Women need
conclusions.
more calcium than men.
Paul, you're the science guy. Explain this.
Explain it. They're just saving it for later. I don't know.
Well, you haven't seen women's milk sub-basements?
Yeah.
We got a lot of cereal milk
Oh,
down
man.
there. Keep it in reserve. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Oh goodness.
Jesus
what-
Christ.
I can't wait till Meg lets me see her basement.
Jesus Christ.
It's a lot
Are
of
you
lucky.
gues not at that stage in your relationship yet?
We're getting there.
No,
Have
I've
you
asked.
at least seen the drapes? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't even know what the drapes symbolize. I just said that.
We know what the drape symbolizes. I wasn't born yesterday.
Oh.
Sound
All
like
right,
an
but
old man.
what is the What was the? How did we get here?
This is what happens every time.
Well, actually, this time I,
just
think you guys
wanted to
answered the
talk
question.
about
We did.
cereal
We
We
and
did. It's okay. This is what it's all about. It's us getting to know each other and the audience getting to know you as people, which is cool. Chris, ask the next one.
Yeah, if you could jam with any artist or band for a night, who would it be?
One night. You get one night to jam with
Is that
these
12
people.
hours? Is that like sunset to sunrise?
It's usually doors open at like
Is
7.
that summer or winter?
So from like 8:45 when the opener comes out to like
She's doing the Illuminati symbol.
yeah. So how like if you could jam with one band for a concert, what would it be? Who would they be?
Led Zeppelin for me, hands down.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they put on such a great live show. Unfortunately, I never got the chance to actually like see it and experience it, but just the way they could still incorporate, improvisation and still sound very full, even despite the fact that on the album they're doubling and tripling guitars and just doing all these crazy things. So,
Led Zeppelin.
oh yeah,
Great answer.
easy.
Rob, baby, hit me with it.
I need more time to think.
He's got too many.
Literally, too many.
Well, I need time to think. So, all right. So, jam with anyone. Does it have to be a band or can it just be like a solo
It can
person?
be a solo artist.
Not solo artist, but like a person in a band.
Sure.
I don't have anyone. All right.
These questions are pretty open ended.
Let's see.
They're made to make you think.
Favorite? Who would I want to jam with? I guess I would probably want to jam with someone like.
You were talking about
Nope.
Santana the
Not
other day.
some-
Yeah,
Someone
but that doesn't
like-
mean I want to jam with. I just want to be like, I love you so much. You're so good. I guess I would like to jam with like John Mayer.
That's
I know.
a good answer.
Because John Mayer, I mean, there are a lot of guitarists or Tommy Emmanuel or Jake Shimabukuro. These guys are, but the reason why is because they're those musicians who have so much to give. They want to teach the people. You know what I mean? And I really admire that. John Mayer does classes at Berkeley all the time. And yeah, so that's why I would choose to jam with John Mayer.
That's a great answer. Rob.
Everyone that I want to jam with is dead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But you get to, I mean, John Bonham's
Yeah,
dead.
he's not, but
He's
yeah,
been
yeah.
dead since the 80s. He died in 1980.
There are actually
I
just
think.
so many people that
Yes.
I would jam with. Like every band that I've said, Jimmy Page would be pretty cool to jam with. Like
Oh
if,
yeah.
if he was on like 12-string guitar and
Oof.
and I don't know, I was playing like the triangle or something.
You just want to be there.
Rob has very specific jam fantasies.
Jesus. Yeah, you know what? But one of my dreams is like, if like Paul McCartney could like hear my music and just be like,
Paul McCartney
that's quite all right.
would. He would.
That's
he-
quite all right, or like, I'd really like to jam with one person that I'd love to jam with, like it's like up there and she's alive, Frances Bean Cobain,
Yes.
because I feel like she's in the process of like writing music and her album was supposed to like drop by now, but I don't know, she's out exploring the world and I don't blame her, but I don't know, she's super cool and I can't wait to hear her actual music, but I would just love to like jam with her. We're into a lot of the same bands and she just seems really cool. So
I mean, she's Kurt Cobain's daughter, and you're in love with Nirvana, so makes sense. You wouldn't want to jam with Dave Grohl?
Oh yeah,
Kurt
Dude,
Cobain's
he's-
BFF?
He's one of my favorite drummers for sure.
I'm in love with him, like plain and simple. I think he's incredible.
He just seems like such a nice guy.
He's
too.
got good hair.
Chris and Dave both got beards. Dun, dun,
I will come on the air emergency broadcast to confirm I do in fact have a beard.
Do your people know what you guys look like?
I assume so.
Yeah, we post pictures sometimes.
Okay, because I was listening to WIC, and I listen to them all the time. They're in Worcester, their Worcester radio station, and I went on there for an interview, and with Vince Lombardi. And there's this other guy who I always imagined him to be like always wearing a suit because he had this voice where he's like, this is this song, and you tell the whole history of it. I'm like, oh my God, that guy is so elegant. And when I saw him, I was like, this guy's dashingly handsome. I'm like, what are you doing in here? Get out of here.
Behind the mic, you should be behind the camera.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
that handsome.
Who are we talking about?
It's the guy who was before Vince Lombardi on Thursdays at WICN 90.5, Worcester.
You know the one.
Who's Vince Lombardi?
He's a radio DJ at WICN 90.5.
Incredible.
Worcester NPR affiliate.
Thank you.
Okay. So, so for you guys. Oh wait, no, that's the next question. We're on number 9. Fuck. All right. What is one song that
You wish you'd written yourself.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, shit.
What?
Oh, shit.
What is one song that you wish you had written yourself?
Happy birthday. Imagine all the fucking
Oh,
royalties.
shit.
Wow. Fucking awesome answer. Imagine.
I promise we're not selling out.
No, you write that one song, and then after that, you can write whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter. You're set for life.
That's true. That's true.
I wonder if when people like sing that, their like phones pick it up and then they get royalties for that. Because our phones are always listening.
Oh yeah, I know. I was
Like-
yelling at mine last week.
Well, at this point, it's in public domain, I imagine. It's got to be that old.
But-
I don't know if it is.
No?
Actually, like
Really?
if you have like recorded media, I think it's still a little. I don't know. I'd have to look into
Yeah.
it.
All I know is that I was like talking with some coworkers about this new Hawaiian restaurant. Forgot what the name was. Poke Island Poke Fin. Somebody's poking somebody in there. I can't remember. But so we were just talking about it, and then we stopped talking about it, and I went on Facebook. I was like, let's see the memes. And I
You get an ad?
saw the ad for the restaurant right there.
Yeah.
And it's like fairly new. And it's like, this is not a meme. And it's a little unnerving.
It is. They're always listening.
Collecting data.
That didn't answer my question though.
Oh, I was about to say.
What was
So,
it?
what is a song you wish you wrote?
Oh, right. How did I get on that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you said
I'm-
Imagine. I thought you meant the song
Yeah,
Imagine.
I also
you
thought
know?
you meant the song Imagine.
Imagine all the people. No. I love that song though.
or with
It's close though. I'm gonna say, I Am the Walrus.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. It's not my favorite song of all time, but it's like I was listening to that on the way over here, and it's like so weird, man.
Cuckoo,
Oh,
Especially for that time, it's like, how did he come up with that?
Asher Crane just says Michael Jackson owns the rights to Happy Birthday. What?
Not according to Wikipedia.
Is that true, Asher?
According to
What?
Wikipedia, in 2008, Warner Chappell Music acquired $5,000 per day in royalties for Happy Birthday.
Oh, Jesus.
$5,000 a day.
Also, he's
Asher.
dead. How can he?
yeah.
Asher, this is your challenger.
So
No!
All right. So happy birthday.
Whistleblowers need to remain anonymous, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm dead now. Thanks.
Oh, my
The
God.
Yakuza is going to get
Oh,
me.
my goodness. Okay. Did you answer or no?
I thought I said I Am the Walrus.
He did.
He did.
Oh, never mind. Well,
That's just you then, Kevin.
I'm one of the few artists, or I don't even want to say the word artist. It's so,
Pretentious.
Bobbing for apples.
yeah, pretentious. No, I enjoy my songs. You know what I mean? I enjoy the songs that we're writing. You know, I feel like when you say, oh man, I wish I wrote that song, I feel like it takes away from who you're trying to become, you know? And
true.
that's how I feel about that question. But
You trying to be John Lennon, Rob?
No, I'm actually trying to be my own unique self, and damn it, did I not come? Why can't I come up with cool answers like Kevin? That was a really good answer. It's like,
It was a good
a lot of
answer.
people are out there trying to be the next so and so or the next whatever so or whatever, and really, you should be out there to become the next you, because I may have a lot of influences, and I may be really, obsessed with them to the point where it's like a little, weird, man. Try reading about yourself. Well, you can kind of. It's like going back and face. I'm getting way off topic. But, you should really be more focused about being original and the next you than becoming like someone else. And that's what we're definitely trying to do as a band. Like, nobody really goes into that jam room with the intention of sounding like another song or trying to nail this sound. Like, oh, we really want to grunge it up in here, like grunge it up. Like, we just do, and then whatever ends up on that recording is just how it is.
I'll stand by my happy birthday answer for the record.
Respectable. Do you want to ask the next one? We only have 2 left.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Cool.
Sure. What do you think was the most influential time no, too late. What do you think was the most influential time in music? How do you view the industry as a whole today, and what would you, as a small band just starting out, change about it?
You read questions so well. Sounds
When I get to it.
Yeah,
That was a multi-parter there.
it was.
I thought about just starting with the first
What was
sentence.
the second part?
What would you change about the music industry if you could?
Oh, okay.
Can we make those 2 questions? Because I'm going to forget. I definitely want to
Here,
answer
let
both
me-
of them.
Click and enter.
We
That's 2 questions.
we
We
have trouble with
changed history.
formatting.
You sure did.
Yes. Thank you.
So I guess I'll just focus on the first answer then. Yeah, the 60s, and then if you reverse that, 90s were my favorite eras. So 6, upside down 9. I don't know. I guess I could have just said 60s and 90s, but I just
Could
had
have just said
things.
69.
Yeah, I could have.
Yeah.
But those were really great times in music, and I just feel like rock and roll had 2 really big transformations in those 2 eras. Like, in the 60s, I mean, rock and roll was just like really, really coming out. I mean, there was black bluesmen that were like, they really had that sound, and then some white people came along and were like rock and roll, and then so so like the 60s had like such a transformative like period of time, and just I don't know, a lot of things happened in the 60s. Wow, I'm like so like out of it. But yeah, the 60s were great, a lot of great tunes. And then the 90s came along, and the death of hair metal and like a bunch of other stuff, and then like I guess grunge and like hard rock and alternative became like, like the main kind of thing on radios. And I thought that was a really cool moment in time, because it was just about like, it was that kind of music wasn't about selling out so much as just like raw and powerful music that, angry, angsty kids at the time could relate to, or like, some weird kids. It was about, getting some different influences in there, which going back to the 60s, that's what rock was about too, was like taking, Middle Eastern influences, black bluesman influences, classical music influences, and just like kind of combining them, because rock is really an exploratory kind of genre. You can fit just about any type of music into it. It's just so versatile, and that's one of the great things about it. That's why I'm definitely a rock and roll man, because I have a lot of different influences, but I can put them in one place, and that's pretty great.
Hell yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, I had to make up for that rant.
What about you, Paul?
When you first sort of asked the question, my mind sort of first went to, I guess it would be the late 1800s when they invented the phonograph. Just because you think about before that, you had to go somewhere to listen to music, and it wasn't captured, and so you think about all the classical pianists that we have. We have the written sort of music, but we'll never know really how Chopin exactly played his pieces. But sort of the invention of the phonograph that eventually led to sort of media that you could purchase and take home, changed the way that we could access music and how we could share it, and sort of started the commercialization of it. So
That's an interesting answer. No, I like that. That was good.
I was thinking something similar. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. Especially, I'm going to go back to before they were able to record it. There was actually a man, I can't remember who invented the metronome, but it was actually, Paul likes to get, he gets on my case about metronomes. But Beethoven actually didn't write, it was invented during his time, And what is interesting about that is that in his original notes, he wrote down, like, the beats were, like, really, really, really fast. And so people speculate, like, are we even listening to modern Beethoven
right,
the way
at the
it
right
was?
tempo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they say, well, dude, it's like, it's too fucking fast to play if we play it the way it's fucking written down. Like, so it's like, it's really fascinating. I heard that on the radio station. It's like a classical, I think it was like the Boston Conservatory, whatever the hell it is, classical or whatever. Boston Symphony Orchestra one. But yeah, I thought that was neat. But for me, I would say it'd probably be like in the classical period, like before, because like they were the ones who actually came up with a system for like being able to write the notes down. You know what I mean? Or I would say maybe even like the period where jazz started bringing up and started breaking all the rules and shit, because like they were the ones who were able to be like, hey, like we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want. You know what I mean?
Fuck you.
You know what I mean? So those are just what I mean, yeah. So
Absolutely. Oh, those are all great answers. All very different answers, but I dig them a lot. Want to repeat the second part of
that's where we're called bobbing for apples.
Bobbing for apples.
Bitch. How do you view the industry as a whole today? And what would you, as a small band just starting out, change about it?
I think it's a shitstorm.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's incredible. I think the biggest thing I would change about it is I would want artists to retain the rights to their actual music. And I mean, the funny thing is you can always do that as an artist. You always have that power. As long as you write your stuff, you register it, and you're good about not signing any stupid contracts with record companies, because that's the biggest thing, is they're taking away your rights when you sign that bottom line. And everybody thinks it's like glory and fame, but their business model is essentially, let's throw 10,000 pieces of shit against the wall, and we only need one to stick, and that one happens to be Taylor Swift, and that's going to make up for all the lost money that we sunk into the other ones, which, by the way, on top of losing, whatever minuscule amount they do after, fronting like $8,000 for you to make an album, they're still going to try and hold you responsible to pay all that back. So all of your royalties that you get, when you first sign up, they go to cover the expenses of, your recording, on top of the fact that, they're already taking a large percentage of those royalties for themselves anyway. So it's, I guess it's sort of the actual business aspect of it that I dislike the most.
Yeah, it's
so,
pretty
so I'll jump right on that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought Rob wanted to go. All right, but I got you. In regards to the business model, for me, I'll get off the business model for right now. But I was thinking in my head, I kind of wish in our culture, like, people went out more You know, I wish there are people who are going out to bars and seeing us perform or seeing other people perform. And apparently, like, even 10 years ago, people used to do a lot more going out in that way. Sometimes it gets a little like, you know, it's like you can't, I love playing, you know, I'll play into an empty room all day, you know, but sometimes like you just want to like see like a reaction, you know. And I think that's a struggle for being an independent artist trying to get out there. And I love YouTube, but you know, creating like good quality videos, and that's part of the reason why we don't have any real content. Like, I mean, we have real content, but it's hard to get. I mean, you need a lot more people to be involved. You know,
I mean, how many billions of videos are on YouTube already?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but if you're trying to build a brand, I mean, we need that,
right?
You know, and
yeah.
we need people who are. Luckily, we're starting to build like friends now, friends and fans who are like, hey, you know, we have this, like we, you know, and you know, we're starting to build connections, you know, and but that's a difficult thing too. But in regards to the business aspect, I would say I wish it's kind of like movies. Like, I don't know what it is, but movies aren't getting pirated. I mean, like they're not getting pirated really, right? I mean there are streaming services, but I think we need to figure out a way to like get off of the streaming services, cuz the way it is right now, it's like, okay, we have one streaming service, everyone pays a certain amount, and we have to pay all the record companies off of that, what, $10 a month, and they have to pay. It's not like that. It's not like that. It shouldn't be like that. But I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, there's going to be something that's going to come along where, you know, they have Patreon where people can support their artists like that they like that too. But I think the industry really needs to either come up with a new kind of way to listen to music or go back to vinyl, or they need to put their foot down and be like, hey, we're not going to produce any more digital music, because digital, it can be copied. You know what I mean? We need to figure out a way to, like, I don't know, maybe even create individual codes for every single song that's purchased. And guys, feel free to take these ideas. You know what I mean? Feel free, you know? But yeah, this is my way as an artist trying to help you guys. I don't know. But yeah, those are just some thoughts. What about you, Rob? You ready?
Oh boy. I don't know. It's such great answers. Seriously, I mean, I resonated with like both things that you guys said. I mean, you know, back in the day, it seemed like if you signed with a big label, that's it, that you made it. But like, it doesn't really seem to be the case nowadays. Even if you know, have like a bunch of you know, Spotify followers or a bunch of streams, you're still probably not even making minimum wage. And that's kind of a terrible thing, because, you know, music is the bread and butter of, you know, every musician's life, all the serious ones at least. And it's kind of sad that they can put their heart and soul into something and then, you know, they just barely get by, like, you know, doing it. You know, they have to kind of suffer for their art. And I suppose every artist in a way, you know, kind of suffers for their art, which can add to it. But no, I don't know. It seems like in the age of Netflix and Spotify and Apple Music, Hulu, Amazon, you know, streaming is really popular. I don't see it dying out anytime soon, but I can tell you one thing is that there are people that go out and like the music that they hear means so much to them that they go to their favorite bands, their favorite musicians, and they buy their merch, they buy their albums, whether it be CDs, tapes, vinyl, and it just meant so much to them that they could have just have easily gotten it for free, but yet they chose to spend their own hard-earned money on that stuff. And let me tell you, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that keeps the music industry alive today. I mean, that's just such a great thing, you know. I mean, if you love something, you should support it. And for those that do, they're probably getting into heaven.
Big picture here.
We don't talk about religion or music. I don't know, maybe someday.
Yeah, the next Bobbing for Apples album definitely wasn't going to be a Christian kind of rock album at all.
Which
Definitely didn't
apple
have
do you
plans
think
for
is a-
that.
It will be called Good Apples. I don't know what the hell it'd be.
From the Garden of Eden,
Shit.
Dude, that's a badass idea. Dude, we should make a logo with like no, I mean like legit like a tree and like Eve eating the fucking dude, that could be like like that Led Zeppelin symbol when they have like the naked guy in the wings. Yo.
That's funny that you said that, Kevin, because I was gonna suggest like sometime to you guys that we should have like a woman eating an apple.
Oh my god.
But I mean, it's just like the apple itself is a really cool symbol.
Yo, I was thinking of having like a guy, like I was thinking about having like this dominatrix, right? And there's this, no, hear me out.
A guy?
Oh my god.
No, not the guy who's the Megan. All right, so there's this female dominatrix, right? And on this table, there's a guy who's like, like how they have like the stereotypical like pig with an apple in their mouth.
Children, cover your ears.
But the guy is on the table, like sitting on like a white plate with an apple in its mouth, and that's what he's like into. I fucking love it.
I think
It's just an idea, no. I mean, but seriously, like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
it's just an idea. We're doing it.
Remember how we talked about sort of making decisions as a band and that being the hard part to,
He just did it.
Yeah, right there. There you go.
Oh, God. This is what happens when you hang out with people who listen. Why are we on a podcast?
Oh, man.
All right. So
The first time Rob is speechless. You haven't said.
he doesn't have anything.
Nope, I got nothing. Nothing
Oh
for
my
that.
god. Okay.
All right.
Last question.
All right.
If you could perform in one city anywhere in the world to a sold out crowd, what city would it be?
You know what? I think if we could perform in any city, it would be like, I would just love if we could come back like years from now to North Brookfield after we made it big, and like there are probably like 15 people out in the middle of like
Still in town.
yeah. But like, I don't know, we have like a stage and it'd be like a hometown show, and like that's like kind of a big moment for bands is, to go on the road for a couple of years and then make it big, and they come back to their hometown and they're just welcomed with all that, love, and it's like, wow, they got out of their hometown, they are something. And I don't know. I always thought that would be a cool moment, but North Brookfield is like really small, so that's probably
Not
never
a
gonna
lofty goal,
happen.
but still a goal.
Cool nonetheless.
We actually have a famous playwright who's from North Brookfield. What's
Yeah.
his? Do you know his name? I don't know his name. He was famous.
Was it Wainwright or something like that? I forget.
No, but he actually
Yeah.
designed a theater in like that little church thing that they're repairing, and it's gonna be used for like they're gonna be throwing theater what is it called? Like shows. They're actually rebuilding it. So theoretically, if it gets to that point, someday we should
We can
do
do
that.
it.
Oh goodness, I was just about to say something, and it just
Slipped your mind.
Oh, sorry, dude.
it's gone. That's okay. Paul has stuff to say.
Sure. Well, I think for me personally, it's more so just in line with sort of the places that I'd like to go, but I'd really love to play in Japan. So I think like Tokyo would be a really cool place, and I mean I really dig like a lot of the music from over there, honestly, and it's just from some of the live videos that you see and from what you hear, like especially what was his name from Megadeth? He went over there, David. Damn it! It's the guitarist, former guitarist of Megadeth, but he went over there and he in like the late '80s, early '90s, and he just loved it so much he just stayed there, and he's been producing J-Rock the whole time, and from like the videos that you see from over there, the crowds are going nuts, and they're foreign bands, so some of these people probably don't even really know the lyrics to the full extent. I mean. And it's just amazing to see something like that and that kind of turn out, and just kind of the energy that you would get from. I mean, it'd be pretty cool to play with a, I guess, local Japanese band. You know what I mean? Like to get that and to sort of have that foreign vibe and that interaction with somebody else who's making music but speaks a different language and comes from a different part of the world, but you still sort of hear the similarities between your stuff.
Definitely.
That was a really good answer. I was trying to think places abroad too. Is like, damn, Paul. Yeah, he hit it on the head with that one. I mean, besides that, I was actually in the Worcester Public Library the other day, and I was in the music section, and I saw this photo album book of Ed Sheeran, like when he was doing the X thing.
Oh, nice.
And one of the first pages, I mean, he talks about his childhood as well, and what inspired him. But if I remember correctly, he said that I hope it's him.
I think it's Ed
This
Sheeran.
moment of insecurity.
It's probably not Ed Sheeran.
It's
But
fine.
whoever it was, they said when they were growing up, their father told them that they hadn't made it until they played Madison Square Garden and sold it out.
Mm.
And I don't want to be a basic person,
I mean,
but
MSG's a pretty big deal.
yeah. So I suppose that's where I would want to, that's, I guess, as far as dreams are concerned, that's where I'm hoping we go, But
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well,
I guess that's all the questions that we have. Do you guys have anything that you want to plug that's coming up? It's plug time.
So November 2nd, Saturday, November 2nd, we are having the most awesome Halloween show
Nice.
in the state. It's going to happen in Southbridge at a place called Starlight. So we did this last year, I was part of the bill last year, and we had a costume contest as well as live music, and we're doing the same format again. So there's going to be first, second, and third place prizes of candy, and then some other stuff, maybe some band merch that we can get from other bands, or if we have stuff like that by the time. And we're going to be sort of kind of teasing some of the prizes over the next few weeks. So that's at Starlight in Southbridge again, and that's November 2nd. Yeah.
Awesome.
did we decide whether or not, are you around for November 22nd or no? That's the one that it's
I
in,
don't know, but we'll
Oh,
talk
we'll
about
work on that shit later. Anyway,
a potential plug.
potential plug.
We'll edit it in.
Where can everybody find you? Like, what's your handle on social media?
Oh fuck! I think. Oh
Bobbing. So Instagram is Bobbing for Apple's Music.
yeah.
Is Facebook Bobbing for Apple's Music as well, or is it just
I think it's just straight bobbing for apples.
okay?
But yeah, follow us on Instagram,
Instagram,
Facebook,
for sure.
and we don't have a Twitter yet, do we?
No.
It's probably for the best.
Awesome. Well, we loved hanging out with you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
It's
thank you
always
so much.
wonderful to see people from high school in my hometown and hearing what they're up to. And I'm sure we'll have you guys back on eventually. Me and Rob talked about him coming on for the Beatles and Doors episodes.
sweet.
So
Yay.
Good spot for you, Rob.
Bob for Rob.
yeah, Bob for Rob.
We should have little hats that like make little like clapping sounds like
Oh
you
my
Bob.
god.
It's a stupid
Jesus
idea,
Christ.
dude. But I'm telling you, yo, you guys are laughing, but this is an idea that can make millions. You're laughing. I'm telling you right now.
Oh my fucking.
You say that, but that's what they said about sliced bread. Like, who's gonna? Oh my god.
That's exactly what happened.
So the hands clap. Is well, I guess you wouldn't have to, you could hold your cell phone and take a video and then just clap with your head.
I don't have it fully designed, but yes, that could be a good idea.
Wonderful.
What a world.
There you go.
What a world.
So that's Bobbing for Apples.
That's bobbing for
I
apples.
see what you did there, Rob. I see. That's clever.
Well, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for being here, and thanks to everybody who's listening. I guess we're gonna call it a night. So, be safe. Drink some tea before bed.
Do a puzzle.
Do puzzle. Do puzzle. Pet your dog.
Show your partner your basement.
Show your partner your milk basement.
Oh god.
And
You have to check on it anyways. It's getting warm down there. Ooh, stinky basement.
all right. So go pet your dog. Go check your significant other's milk basement. And,
One last time, Rob. The Beatles impersonation.
one last time.
As
Send
he
him home.
stiffens.
Say goodnight. Don't say hi.
Hi, I'm Paul. And I'm John.
Better.
And I'm George. And I'm Ringo.
It was beautiful. You nailed it.
And this has been a podcast in the sky with diamonds.
Good night, everybody.